Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of truth, and weary souls scrolling through an endless sea of distractions, pause, just for a moment. Take a breath. A real breath, deep and full. Feel the air fill your lungs, the quiet ripple through your being. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly felt alive? Not just awake, not just present, but fully engaged, deeply connected, and brimming with purpose? In a world saturated with quick fixes, instant gratification, and the relentless pursuit of digital validation, we have been lulled into believing that happiness is just one more notification, one more download, one more like away. We have been conditioned to chase moments, not meaning, to collect experiences rather than live them. And yet, despite our hyper-connected world, why do so many of us feel so utterly disconnected from ourselves, from each other, from life itself? Enter There Is No App for Happiness: How to Avoid a Near-Life Experience by Strom, a profound call to reclaim what technology has slowly eroded: our humanity, our serenity, our very essence of being. This book is not merely a critique of our screen-obsessed culture. It is a guide, a beacon, a whisper in the dark reminding us of something we have forgotten: the power of stillness, the importance of breath, the necessity of a life lived with intention. Strom, a visionary thinker and renowned teacher, invites us to step back from the dizzying pace of modern life and rediscover the ancient wisdom that has sustained humanity for centuries. Through his deeply insightful words, he dismantles the illusion that happiness can be found in the palm of our hands, reminding us instead that the path to fulfillment lies within our breath, our choices, our ability to be present. This book is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those ready to awaken. It is for those tired of the noise, weary of the chase, and longing for something real, something enduring. It is for those who recognize that life is not meant to be skimmed like a social media feed, but savored, felt, and experienced in its raw, unfiltered beauty. So, I invite you now to set aside your devices, silence the incessant pings of modern existence, and embark on a journey that will not only change how you think about happiness, but how you live it. There Is No App for Happiness is not just a book. It is an invitation to reclaim your life before it slips through your fingers, one distracted moment at a time. Let us begin. Part 1: Summary of There Is No App for Happiness by Strom. Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of truth and fulfillment, let us embark on a journey not of quick fixes, not of fleeting distractions, but of deep, meaningful transformation. In There Is No App for Happiness, Strom holds up a mirror to our modern lives, revealing a hard truth: we have never been more connected, yet never felt more alone. We are surrounded by technology designed to improve our lives, yet many of us feel like we are merely existing, drifting through a near-life experience, rather than truly living. This book is a call to awaken from the numbing trance of the digital age, to reclaim our sense of purpose, and to rediscover what it means to be truly happy. And in Part 1, Strom lays the foundation for this awakening, challenging us to see past the illusions of convenience and step into a life of clarity, connection, and deep fulfillment. Chapter 1: The Near-Life Experience: Why We Feel Lost in a World of Convenience. Imagine a man standing in a room full of glowing screens, notifications pinging, messages flooding in, each one demanding his attention. He is more connected than ever before, yet in his heart, he feels a hollowness he cannot explain. This, Strom tells us, is the reality of our modern world. We live in an age where comfort is abundant, yet true satisfaction remains elusive. We have devices that promise to simplify our lives, yet they often complicate them further. Social media offers us validation, yet it leaves us feeling more alone. We chase goals that society deems important: money, status, productivity, but in the quiet moments we wonder, is this all there is? Strom introduces us to the idea of the near-life experience, a state where we are alive but not fully living. We check off the boxes, we meet the expectations, but deep inside, something is missing. This is not an accident, he argues. It is the result of a world designed to keep us distracted from the real work of the soul. But there is hope. The first step, he tells us, is awareness. To recognize that we are sleepwalking through life and to wake up to the reality that true happiness cannot be downloaded, purchased, or outsourced. Chapter 2. The Myth of More. Why accumulation does not lead to fulfillment. If we just had a little more money, a little more success, a little more recognition, then we tell ourselves we would finally be happy. But this is the great illusion of modern life. We are trapped in a cycle of endless striving, always chasing the next thing, only to find that fulfillment remains just out of reach. Strom dismantles the myth of more, showing us that true happiness is not found in accumulation but in transformation. He draws on history, philosophy, and real-life examples to illustrate a powerful truth. Some of the wealthiest, most powerful individuals in the world live in quiet misery, while those with far less, those who cultivate inner peace, experience a richness that no material possession can provide. He challenges us to examine our own lives. Are we filling our homes with possessions but emptying our hearts of meaning? Are we scrolling through endless feeds, consuming information, but failing to nurture wisdom? Are we mistaking comfort for true joy? The time has come, Strom urges, to stop looking outward for fulfillment and start turning inward. Chapter 3. The Power of Stillness. Escaping the Tyranny of Distraction. Imagine a world where, for just a moment, everything is silent. No emails, no notifications, no scrolling, just you, your breath, and the present moment. Feels foreign, doesn't it? In a culture that glorifies busyness, stillness has become an endangered state. Yet, Strom tells us, without stillness, there is no clarity. This chapter explores the addiction to distraction, revealing how our devices have rewired our brains, making it harder for us to focus, reflect, or even experience genuine emotions. We check our phones hundreds of times a day, not because we need to, but because we fear the discomfort of simply being. Strom offers a radical antidote: the practice of stillness. Disconnect from the noise and reconnect with yourself. Create moments of silence each day to allow your thoughts to settle. Cultivate mindfulness, not as a trendy app, but as a way of being. When we make space for stillness, we begin to hear the whispers of our own soul. We begin to see past the illusions. And most importantly, we begin to wake up. Chapter 4. The Breath of Life. Why your most powerful tool for happiness is already within you. It is with us from the moment we are born until the moment we leave this world. It is constant, it is free, and yet we rarely pay attention to it. The breath. Strom, a world-renowned breathing expert, unveils the astonishing power of conscious breathing, not just as a technique, but as a path to transformation. Science has now confirmed what ancient wisdom traditions have known for centuries. Breath work can regulate emotions, reduce stress, increase clarity, and even unlock suppressed trauma. But despite its power, most of us take shallow, unconscious breaths, robbing ourselves of this simple yet profound tool. Strom introduces simple but life-changing breathwork exercises designed to calm the nervous system in moments of anxiety, increase focus and mental clarity, unlock deeper emotional healing. The lesson here is simple. Your happiness is quite literally in your own hands, or rather, in your own breath. Chapter 5. The Lost Art of Human Connection. We live in a world where we can communicate instantly with someone on the other side of the globe, yet we struggle to have meaningful conversations with the people in our own homes. Loneliness has become an epidemic, not because we lack technology, but because we have forgotten how to truly connect. Strom exposes the illusion of digital intimacy, showing us how real connection cannot be substituted by likes, comments, or emojis. True connection requires vulnerability, the courage to be seen as we truly are; presence, the ability to listen without distraction; empathy, the willingness to step into another's experience. He encourages us to reclaim real conversations, to put the phone down, look into another's eyes, and rediscover the simple, profound joy of human connection. Final words on Part 1. The awakening begins. And so, we reach the end of Part 1, but in truth, this is just the beginning. Max Strom has guided us to the threshold of awakening, but it is up to us to step forward. We have seen the illusion of modern happiness. We have questioned the myths that have kept us trapped. We have glimpsed the power of stillness, breath, and connection. The question now is, are we ready to wake up? Because, my friends, there is no app for happiness. No shortcut. No quick fix. There is only the courageous, deeply rewarding path of real transformation. And in Part 2, we will take that next step together, diving deeper into the practices, disciplines, and mindsets that can truly set us free. Stay with me, because the journey has only just begun. Part 2 Summary. Ladies and gentlemen, we have opened our eyes. We have seen the illusions, the distractions, the endless pursuit of more, the numbing cycle of comfort that keeps us from true fulfillment. We have begun to understand that happiness is not something we can download or purchase. It is something we must cultivate, something we must earn through deep personal transformation. But knowing this is not enough. Awareness is the first step, but action is what changes our lives. Now, in Part 2 of There Is No App for Happiness, Max Strom shifts from revelation to revolution. This is where theory becomes practice, where insights become daily disciplines. Here, he gives us the tools to break free from the near-life experience and step into a life of true purpose, deep connection, and lasting peace. Let's walk together through this next chapter of our awakening. Chapter 6. Healing the Mind by Healing the Body. We often think of happiness as something that exists in the mind, a matter of thoughts, emotions, and attitudes. But Strom challenges this notion. He tells us that the mind cannot heal unless the body heals as well. We live in a world where physical and emotional health are seen as separate, but in truth, they are deeply connected. Anxiety, stress, and even depression are not just mental states, they are physical experiences. They live in our bodies, in our breath, in the way we hold ourselves. And unless we address them holistically, true healing is impossible. So how do we heal? Strom presents a powerful solution: intentional movement and breathwork. Movement as medicine. Our sedentary lifestyles have imprisoned us in stress and disconnection. Strom advocates for yoga, tai chi, walking, or any form of mindful movement to help release trapped tension and restore emotional balance. Breathing for emotional freedom. Through controlled breathing techniques, we can reduce anxiety, increase focus, and access deep emotional release. The power of routine, small, daily practices, stretching in the morning, walking in silence, mindful breathing, create long-term transformation. When we heal the body, we open the door for the mind to follow. Chapter 7. Emotional Honesty, the Path to Liberation. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat alone, in silence, and truly faced your emotions? Most of us spend our lives running from our feelings. We distract ourselves with work, social media, entertainment, anything to avoid facing what is inside us. But Strom tells us a truth that is both uncomfortable and liberating. What we do not process, we repress. And what we repress controls us. He introduces the concept of emotional honesty, a radical practice of sitting with our feelings, listening to them, and allowing them to be released. This is not easy. Facing our deepest wounds can be painful, but it is the only way to be free. Journaling as a mirror, writing down our true thoughts, without judgment, helps us confront what we often ignore. The courage to express. We must find ways to speak our truth, whether through deep conversations, creative expression, or quiet reflection. Letting go of the mask. Too often, we pretend to be fine, while we are actually suffering. But true happiness requires authenticity. The lesson here is clear. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. Chapter 8. The Power of a Purpose-Driven Life. What are we living for? What gets us out of bed in the morning? Many of us go through life without ever answering this question. We chase success, we build careers, we meet expectations, but do we ever stop to ask why? Strom tells us that purpose is the foundation of happiness. Without a clear sense of purpose, we drift. We fall into distraction, into routine, into a life that lacks true meaning. He guides us through a process of discovering our purpose, identifying what moves us, what makes our heart race, what brings us joy, what pain do we wish to heal in the world. Aligning our actions with our values, happiness comes when our daily life reflects what we truly believe in. Letting go of external validation, true purpose comes from within, not from applause, promotions, or status. A life of purpose is not necessarily a life of fame or wealth. It is a life of intention. And when we live with intention, happiness follows. Chapter 9. Breaking Free from Fear.
Fear.
It is the invisible prison that holds us back from everything we truly desire. It keeps us from speaking our truth, from taking risks, from living authentically. But here is the secret. Fear is not real. Yes, we feel it. Yes, it seems overwhelming. But fear is not a monster. It is simply a signal. A signal that we are stepping beyond our comfort zone. A signal that we are about to grow. Strom teaches us how to transform fear into fuel, reframing fear as growth. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, see it as a green light, an indication that you are moving in the right direction. Confronting fear through action. The only way to defeat fear is to walk through it. Small, brave actions weaken its power over time. Breathing through fear. Conscious breathing can help calm the nervous system and allow us to act despite our fears. Fear will never fully disappear, but it does not have to control us. Chapter 10. Cultivating Gratitude and Presence. We have spent so much of our lives chasing happiness that we have forgotten how to simply be happy. In this final chapter of Part 2, Strom brings us back to the power of the present moment. The practice of gratitude. Instead of constantly seeking what's next, we must learn to appreciate what is now. Every morning, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Speak them out loud. Feel them. The art of slowing down. We are always rushing, always checking, scrolling, multitasking. But true joy is found in slowing down, in savoring the simple moments. The gift of deep presence, whether in conversation, in nature, or in solitude, practice being fully there. Happiness is not in the past or the future. It is right here, right now. Final words on Part 2. The road to true happiness. And so, my friends, we have been given the tools. The path has been laid before us. We have learned to heal the body so that the mind can be free. We have embraced emotional honesty, stepping into our authentic selves. We have discovered purpose, breaking free from distraction and illusion. We have faced fear, no longer allowing it to hold us back. And finally, we have come home, to the present moment, where happiness has been waiting for us all along. But the journey is not over. In Part 3, we take this wisdom and turn it into lasting transformation. We step beyond theory into a new way of living, one that is aligned, empowered, and truly free. Because, my friends, happiness is not something we wait for. It is something we choose. Stay with me because the final step is just ahead. Part 3 Summary. My friends, we have come far. We began this journey by opening our eyes, by seeing the illusions that have kept us trapped in a near-life experience. We have untangled ourselves from the distractions of technology, the pursuit of status, and the false promises of convenience. We have reclaimed our bodies, faced our emotions, confronted our fears, and realigned with our purpose. And now, in part 3, we move from transformation to integration. This is where the real work begins. Because wisdom is not enough, we must live it. We must make happiness not a fleeting moment, but a way of being. This is the final stretch. Let us step forward together. Chapter 11. Rebuilding Connection, the Antidote to Loneliness. There is a silent epidemic in our world today, an invisible plague that is slowly starving us from the inside. It is not hunger. It is not disease. It is loneliness. In a time when we are more connected than ever, we have never been more disconnected from each other. We have thousands of friends online, yet we feel isolated. We communicate in texts and emojis, but we rarely have real conversations. Strom tells us a truth we must face. We cannot be happy alone. Human connection is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Studies have shown that meaningful relationships are the single greatest predictor of long-term happiness. And yet, most of us struggle to form deep, lasting bonds. So, how do we rebuild connection? Prioritize face-to-face interaction. Digital conversations are not enough. We must make time for in-person conversations, without distractions, without screens. Listen deeply. True connection begins with presence. Put the phone away. Make eye contact. Be fully there. Create sacred rituals of connection. Regular family dinners, weekly meetups with friends, community gatherings. These moments become the foundation of a fulfilled life. Practice vulnerability. To connect deeply, we must be willing to show our true selves. Drop the mask. Be real. Happiness is not found in isolation. It is found in love, in friendship, in shared experiences. Chapter 12. The Discipline of Stillness. Now, let us pause. Right now, at this very moment, when was the last time you sat in complete stillness? No phone, no music, no scrolling, no distractions. For most of us, the answer is, I can't remember. We live in a world that worships movement, noise, and speed. But true peace, true happiness, is found in the opposite. Strom urges us to reclaim the lost art of stillness. Meditation and mindfulness, a simple, daily practice of sitting in silence, can transform our minds, reduce anxiety, and deepen self-awareness. The power of a digital detox, stepping away from screens, even for short periods, allows us to reconnect with ourselves. Solitude as a source of strength. Being alone does not mean being lonely. True stillness brings clarity, creativity, and inner peace. The mind is like a muddy river, constantly disturbed by the rush of daily life. But in stillness, the waters settle, and only then can we see clearly. Chapter 13. Living with Integrity and Alignment. What does it mean to live a good life? Not a successful life. Not a wealthy life. Not a comfortable life. A good life. Strom answers this with one word: integrity. Integrity means living in alignment with your deepest values. It means your words match your actions. It means you are the same person in private as you are in public. It means that when you lay your head down at night, there is no inner conflict, no regret, no shame. How do we cultivate integrity? Define your core values. What do you stand for? What matters most to you? Write it down. Make it clear. Align your actions with your principles. If something does not reflect your values, let it go. Whether it's a toxic job, an unhealthy habit, or a superficial relationship, choose authenticity. Make decisions based on character, not comfort. Do what is right, even when it is hard. Even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching. Happiness is not just about feeling good. It is about being good. Chapter 14. Service. The Secret to Lasting Happiness. If there is one thing that separates temporary happiness from deep fulfillment, it is this: service. Strom reminds us that the most joyful people in the world are not those who hoard wealth, chase power, or indulge in endless pleasures. The happiest people are those who give. When we serve, we step outside of ourselves. We shift our focus from our own struggles to the needs of others. And in that shift, we experience true meaning. Service does not have to be grand. It does not require wealth or fame. It can be as simple as volunteering a few hours a month, mentoring someone who needs guidance, performing random acts of kindness without expecting anything in return, simply being there for someone in need. The paradox of happiness is this: the more you give it away, the more you receive. Chapter 15: The Courage to Begin Again, Every Single Day. And now, we reach the final lesson. We have learned so much. We have seen the illusions of modern life. We have healed. We have reconnected. We have found purpose. But here is the greatest truth of all: happiness is not a destination. There is no finish line. There is no moment when we arrive. Happiness is a choice, a discipline, a way of being that we must commit to every single day. Some days we will fail. Some days we will get lost again in distractions, in fear, in old habits. Some days we will feel like we are back at square one. And that is okay, because every single day we get to begin again. Final words: there is no app for happiness, but there is a path. So, my friends, here we are, at the end of one journey and the beginning of another. We now know what true happiness requires: presence over distraction, purpose over emptiness, connection over isolation, integrity over compromise, stillness over chaos, service over selfishness, and most of all, courage. The courage to live fully, love deeply, and wake up each day with intention. There is no app for happiness. There never was. But there is a path. The question is, will you walk it? Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new video updates.